Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Nova is down for her third nap of the day and it's still daylight outside and we have a stack of books to talk about. But today we are going to be talking about my January wrap up. So all of the books that I read in January of 2025. I honestly read way more books than I anticipated. I have been setting a goal for myself of like just 4 books a month, 1 book a week. You can do it. And I'm starting to realize I can actually read more than I thought. So I actually ended up reading 6 books this month. I did do a readathon with my friends this month too, which was super fun. It was a readathon. It was like 6 consecutive hours of reading. So I didn't even really read that all that much. Let's talk about the 6 books that I read this month. One of the books that I read in January was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I actually just finished this like an hour ago and it is January 28th and I don't see myself finishing the book that I've started by the end of the month. If I have, I will at least let you guys know my rating and thoughts and all of that stuff, but just so that you don't miss it, make sure to follow me on StoryGraph so that you can see all of my reading updates and all the things. But back to Better Than the Movies. This one was okay for me. I honestly would probably give this one 3 stars. I didn't really connect with our characters all that much. I found our main character to be a little bit obnoxious, to be honest. But I also am not a huge like rom-com movie watcher. I'm not really a movie watcher in general. So I feel like the author made a lot of references and allusions to different like movies and songs and things like that that I just didn't understand. And I think if I did, it would have made this book that much better, but I just didn't. So I felt really out of the loop with this one, and for that I just didn't get the hype around this book. So this one was 3 for me. It wasn't terrible, it just wasn't my thing. Okay, and the next book that we're going to talk about is Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. This one I actually got convinced to buy by the Barnes & Noble seller that was checking me out one day, and I paid 7 cents for this because I used my points and something else, and I was able to get this book for literally free. And honestly, this one really surprised me. I think I gave this one 4 stars, I'm pretty sure, but this was like a really cool concept and a really cool spin on like your princess locked in a tower kind of thing, and I was like fairly impressed with this book. It's obviously super short. I literally read this in one sitting, but I had so much fun with it and I felt like it was super creative. The fairy, like Toadling is the name of the fairy that we follow in this book. I found him, I think it's a her, I have no idea. I just found Toadling to be like super fun and I don't know, I kind of wanted to be friends. But yeah, this one, I haven't heard like a lot of things about this at all, but I had read T. Kingfisher before and I liked what I read, so I was hopeful for this one, and as I should have been because I was pleasantly surprised. The next book that I read that I gave 5 stars, this is one of my 5-star reads this month, is Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. This was so cute. This is one of those ones that literally just caught my attention in Barnes & Noble, and I read the back and I was like, this sounds so cute, I should get it. So I did, and OMG, this was absolutely adorable. I fell in love. I don't know, I don't play like Dungeons and Dragons, so I didn't really even understand. Luckily, I didn't feel like they did like too many Dungeons and Dragons references to where like you're clueless as the reader. It was still like you could understand what was going on. Unlike Better Than the Movies, I felt like I was just clueless. But anyways, and she's like a drama student and it's the whole fake dating trope kind of thing, and then they like obviously fall in love for real. It was so cute. I was like giddy the whole time I was reading this book. And also, no, this was not one sitting. This, I read like half of it, went to bed, woke up, and read the other half as soon as I woke up. But this was so good. If you guys have not read this book or any of these authors' books, because I think she has another one that's like dating and dragons or something, so it's another kind of Dungeons and Dragons thing. I have it on my shelf, but it gives me a lot of hope for that one because this one was adorable. So 5 stars on this one. This next book that I read, I absolutely loathed. In the likely event by Rebecca Yarros. This was actually a book club pick for the bookstore that I work at. We do a book club every single month. I did not like this really at all. I found the romance to be cheesy and honestly cringy. I found the plot to be highly unrealistic and over dramatized. I don't know. There's like a whole, she's like a politician and he like is in the military and then he's assigned as her security detail. And it's like one of those like second chance romance kind of things. I did not like this at all. I just found even like the military things to be really unrealistic. My dad was in the military and this is not how it works. So yeah, for that, I was just really turned off by this book. And I felt like, because there's like some scenes in this book, which I like skimmed through because I don't really love to read that stuff. But I felt like even those were like throw up in your mouth. Like just, ew, what are you doing? I don't know. I did not like this at all, but I think I'm in the minority because this book apparently is really well loved. And even one of my really good friends that read it loved it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's awkward. So yeah, not my thing. The next book that I want to talk about is probably my new all-time favorite book. I'm about to borrow it's one in a series, and I'm about to borrow the second and third book for my best friend, because I didn't expect to love this as much as I did, but even now just looking at it, I want to go back. I want to go back already, but that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So, same author, but I like this much better than this. My friend said that in this book, to her, it felt like Rebecca Yarros is a romance author trying to write fantasy. I felt like it was the other way. I felt like she is a fantasy author trying to write romance. So obviously just received these things very differently, but I was literally hooked from page one. I was so invested before you even meet the dragons or really have any idea what the heck is kind of going on. Oh, I loved this. Loved this. None of the characters bothered me besides the one that are like supposed to bother you because they're just kind of like anti-happiness. This was so good. It took me a really, really long time to read this book because I was reading this like right after Christmas and into the new year. And Christmas is obviously like a busy season. Nova's birthday is New Year's Day, so that was super busy with like her first birthday party and all that stuff. So I just got like super busy and I didn't get to like sit and binge this like I wanted. So this one took me like 2 weeks to read, but it was the best 2 weeks of my life. And I literally can't wait for the rest of them because wow. Oh wow. And then the last book that I want to talk about that I read that I also loved is The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This was my book of the month pick for January, and I honestly was like super excited about this because it sounded really interesting. It kind of gave me Daisy Jones and the Six vibes, and I really, really loved that book. So I was like, all right, let me try this one. And I'm so glad that I did because it read very similarly to Daisy Jones and the Six. I really liked how it bounces back and forth between Katerina, like basically telling her story from her perspective, and then bouncing over to like how the documentary, because the documentary was coming out, and so she was like, I'm sure you're all wanting to hear the story. So it was like her telling the real story, and then you're getting like these snippets of like clips described in the documentary, and then these little interview pieces from different characters, and I just thought it was so well done. The writing style was super easy to digest, and I felt like I was flying through this book. I finished this book in like 2-3 days, which is saying a lot as a mom, okay? Because this thing is actually huge. Don't let it fool you. It's like 400 something pages. And I had a blast with every single page. I felt like this was one of those like really cool storytelling books. There's a lot of up and down, but I didn't feel like it was like your typical like I don't even know how to describe it, like here's the plot and then here's the climax and then like here's like the really sad regression of the story and then like here's the result. Like it didn't go like that. It was very like all over the place, but so much fun the entire time. I don't know. I don't know. I just loved this. I don't remember what I gave it on StoryGraph because I don't think I gave it 5 stars. I want to say I gave it like 4.5 or something, because the way that it ended, I wasn't like super satisfied. And I think the reason I wasn't satisfied is because it didn't end the way I wanted it to. The way that it ended was more realistic, but I just was like, no. So I think that's the only reason that I took the rating down. But again, that's the way that I rate books. Like the way that I feel about how the story concluded matters to my rating. And this one I felt was like super realistic. If we're talking writing style and plot and character development and all that, it was definitely 5 stars. But because it didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do, I was just a little bit bummed. Nonetheless, it was fantastic. But yes, so those are all 6 books that I read this month, and I'm super, super pleased with that. I felt like I got a lot of really, really good books this month, and then a couple of kind of meh, and then only one, I guess one really like dislike. And one of my goals for this year is just to read quality over quantity, and just really only pick up the books that sound good to me, not because the world tells me I need to read them. And I felt like I did that this month and was super, super content with my reading. So I feel like this was a great reading month overall, and it makes me super, super excited for February. But anyways, that is my January wrap up. I hope you guys had a blast. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were, because I would love to talk about some of these in the comments, or you can just reach out to me on Instagram. I'd love to chat. But yeah, so thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.